get into the next topic here, Tim. Again, I just like to kind of I love this time of year because when you go through and you hit all the tweets like that, you just kind of get, test the pulse, not just Packer fans, but Packers in general, and everybody giving access to a little bit into their personal lives on Instagram in a positive way. It's just cool. It kind of makes you feel like you're right there along for the ride. If you use social media correct, you stay away from the toxic people. Don't waste any time. Just block them and move on, man. It can be a really, really cool way to follow the football season. In this case, the off season. But all right, let's jump into this, man. This is starting to gain a little steam. I want to give a shout out to Ryan Schlipp with Packernet Podcast. Obviously, that's where you find this show in podcast form. It's still my favorite podcast is Packernet Podcast. If you guys have never checked it out, make sure you just search Packernet Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Ryan pretty much does a show daily. He's got a call-in show as well. You can scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to Packernet as well. But anyway, he's been kind of keeping his finger on the pulse in terms of tweeting out when these second-round rookies are signing, right? So I thought, let's put a little something together. Let's comb through all of Twitter, all of the interwebs and see, do we have any updates on Anthony Belton, maybe some players in and around his situation that are kind of the dominoes are falling into place. So it's probably just a matter of time before we get our second-round pick under contract. So
play that man his money.
Thank you. Exactly. Adam Schefter tweeted out, the next big domino in the second round has fallen. 49ers second-round pick, Alfred Collins. You guys remember we covered him quite a bit. I can't get to my board right now. We covered him quite a bit during the draft process, one of those D tackles that we would have been perfectly fine with the Packers drafting as well. But he was number 43 overall selection by the Niners. They reached an agreement tonight. I guess this was yesterday that this was tweeted out, on a 4-year, $10.3 million deal that includes over $9 million guaranteed and now is expected to trigger multiple second-round signings per sources. Until now, 30 of the 32 second-round picks remain without a deal. Collins will have 88% of his deal guaranteed, a huge jump over last year's number 43 overall pick. So what you're seeing here, Tim, these second-round picks, they're trying to get as much guaranteed money as they can, and rightfully so, man. You got to get it while you can, right? It's bad enough I say bad enough. I don't really care as a fan, but if you're looking at it through the players' perspective and the players' union perspective, the previous CBA, they kind of gave in to the owners and allowed the rookies to be slotted into an X amount of money. And now they're trying to get as much guaranteed as they can. So as these dominoes continue to fall in place, obviously you see they're up to 88% of the deal being guaranteed. Now, we talked about Jaden Higgins, I think might have been Houston, if I remember correctly. Wide receiver, one of your draft crushes this last year. He got his, to the best of my knowledge, he got his entire contract fully guaranteed. So that's why these second-round picks are kind of taking a little bit, if that makes sense, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I hope I'm right. Jaden Higgins better be that dude, right? A lot of guaranteed money out there. So, hey, it's a new dawn, new day, man. The league is changing, and like, I'm with you, Clayton. I don't think we should fault any of these guys for wanting to get their money. It's tough. You could play one game, one down, and never play again. It's a brutal game, and you got to make your money when you can. And you know how it is. Rookie contracts, they're not a lot of money usually right away, anyways. So trying to get as much as you can guaranteed. I'm not faulting the players for that at all.
Yeah, definitely. So next domino that fell into place here, Ian Rappaport tweeted out the Ravens are expected to sign pass rusher Mike Green. You guys remember one of the top prospects on our board. Now he fell because there was some personal stuff that people were worried about, right? We're assuming if we heard it, the teams heard it, and it's no coincidence. He was arguably the best pass rusher in the draft last year, or this year, I should say. And he falls to the second round, right? So it sounds like they've come to an agreement with a 4-year contract today. Sources say another second rounder that gets done. Green was the 59th overall pick. So now you're seeing them in the 40s, the 50s, everybody kind of falling into place. So let's talk about Anthony Belton's status here. And again, there's nothing like overly elegant about the way we put this little article together over in our Patreon group. If you guys want to join our Patreon community, scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Best way to support what we do here at PTA. So what I did was just kind of comb through the internet, had AI put us some bullet points together. Here's what we know about the situation, essentially. Now we've seen these other two contracts fall into place, right? So Anthony Belton, second-round draft pick for the Green Bay Packers, remains unsigned for the first practice training camp less than 1 week away. So we still got some time. Obviously, I think the 23rd is the first training camp practice, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check. I don't want to tell y'all wrong here. Yeah, so 23rd is the first open practice. Obviously, they're going to begin reporting. I think on the 22nd, they report the first practice is going to be on the 23rd. So we still got a little bit of time there, but we are coming down to the wire less than a week away. Rookies, including Belton, are due to report for Green Bay Packers training camp on Saturday with the first practice scheduled for Wednesday. So, Tim, ideally, you'd like to get that done tomorrow or the next day and get him in-house since the rookies can be there and kind of begin practicing a little bit. Hopefully they can get that done in time. Now, Belton's 4-year contract is projected to be worth a little more than $8 million with about $5.9 million guaranteed based on comparisons to last year's 46th pick. Now, if we go back up, keep that in mind there. Somebody do the math for me in the chat if y'all don't care. What percentage is $5.9 million of $8 million flat? What percentage would that be? Because the most recent one here with Alfred Collins is 88% of the deal guaranteed. So I would imagine that's
pretty close to 80, right?
Yeah,
close to 80%.
Yeah, a little less than 80, maybe a little more is what I'm thinking. Deadfish says 75%. You know, Tim, that's awful close to 65% last time I checked. But anyway,
65%.
65%. That's what so quick with the trigger. So 75%, you're kind of seeing it, right? The Packers are probably trying to do what was done last year. And Belton's going, hey, man, we're getting a little bit more guaranteed this year. Belton ain't saying that, but his reps are saying it, right? So
Pay
this all
that
makes
man
sense.
his money.
I would go in there. I would crack the 80% mark, try to get it done. Maybe they already have. Maybe, who knows, man? We're not behind the scenes. Maybe Belton's going, I want it 100% guaranteed. And the Packers are kind of in the right in terms of, comparisons across the league with these second-round picks. So I'm feeling a little bit better, though, Tim. I think this is going to get done before Saturday. I really, really hope it does.
I think so, too. Plenty of time. Wrap up the business end of things here as we go into camp. And I'm sure we'll get some other announcements, too. A few other key players that we're looking at getting some deals done. I'm thinking maybe at least at some point during camp we'll see some more. But, Anthony Belton, man, we got to get Escalade figured out here. Get him out there. Get him on the field, see what he can do. Yeah,
for sure. So just a couple other key notes here in comparison to other picks. Anthony Belton is a part of a logjam of unsigned second-round picks with the signing of 49ers defensive tackle Alfred Collins. We already hit on that. We talked about Alfred Collins' money. Belton, as the 54th overall selection, is compared to last year's 46th pick, Jonathan Brooks, whose 4-year, $8.4 million included $6.2 million in guarantees, so a little bit different number there, 74.1% on those exact numbers. In contrast, last year's number 54 was defensive tackle Michael Hall. He got the 4 years, $7 million with $4.3 million. That was only 61.9% guaranteed. The signing process has been influenced by earlier second-round picks, starting with Houston Texans wide receiver. There he is, Jaden Higgins, number 34. Tim, our boy Higgins started this whole damn mess, didn't he?
You're all right. I'll take the heat for it.
I said it was our boy. I didn't throw you under the bus. I said it was ours.
It's true. I had no idea of that. It was gonna pan out this way, but hey, more power to him, man. Get your money. You know, right. You never know.
Absolutely. Who had every penny of his 4th-year contract guaranteed, and New Orleans Saints quarterback Tyler Shuck, the number 40 overall pick, who also seeks full contract guarantees. We talked about Shuck early on in the draft process as Greg Cosell was really, really high on him. Boy, he knocked that one out of the park. So moving along, though, to kind of look at, all right, projections and analysis here. Anthony Belton, let's look at it from a PFF standpoint with him at NC State. Now, he played left tackle the entire time. They had him listed at 6'6", 336. You guys go check the RAS card, make sure that's correct. That might be an inch or two off here or there. But in 2021, a 74.8 grade on minimal snaps. 22 as a starter, 64 was his grade. 23 jumps to a 65. 24, he jumps to a 73. So what you're seeing is when he took over as a starter, he has gotten better every single year, according to PFF. Not saying it's gospel. It's just another metric we can use. But you're seeing an ascending player. Tim, I can't think of one draft pick we had this year that was not ascending coming into the league. You know what I mean? It seems like every single pick we took, when we look at the PFF grades, we look at the statistics, they're all ramping up as they're entering the league. That's definitely something we need to focus on in our draft coverage moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with guys like Belton and Matthew Golden, right? You can see it all over the tape and all over the stat sheet, not just PFF, but just, look at film and look at stats and you can see. And there's a method to the madness, right? This is what Goody is doing. It keeps us young and keeps us constantly getting better. And you want guys that are ascending. You want to get someone that's the hot hand, right, coming into the league, and hopefully that momentum carries them through their rookie year and well into their career.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so moving along here, projections and analysis. This is what was combed through on the internet here and on X. Belton's contract negotiations are expected to fall in line relatively soon following the signing of Collins. All right, Belton was the starting left tackle at NC State and has been playing right tackle and right guard during the Packers offseason practices. Really important to mention that because, one portion of the fan base just assumes that Rasheed Walker is going to be the starting left tackle. Another portion of the fan base thinks that Jordan Morgan is going to be competing with Rasheed Walker for the left tackle spot. But surprisingly, it doesn't sound like Anthony Belton's going to be competing at left tackle at all. It shouldn't surprise us to him because there's a little bit of precedent here. It sounds like the same exact process they took with Jordan Morgan. If you guys remember, Jordan Morgan played left tackle his entire high school and college career. Anthony Belton played left tackle for at least the entire duration of his college career. Seems like they're taking left tackles and then kicking them over to guard at the right side. And now it sounds like Jordan Morgan's going to have an opportunity to unseat Rasheed Walker at left tackle. I personally don't think it's going to happen. And what excites me, though, is the thought of having more depth on this offensive line. That's really what I'm coming away with here, man. You're muted, brother.
Sorry about that.
You're good, man.
Absolutely. Trust the process, right? Sometimes taking a guy and sticking him at right guard or left guard and letting him get his NFL legs under him for a year and then letting him compete for a tackle spot is, that's not a bad approach. Kind of gets you up to speed without, worrying about, blowing up, our franchise quarterback with a missed block on the blind side. So I think I'll trust that approach. And we talk about having depth, right? We talk about wanting versatile O linemen. So I don't see why you can't try them at another position. I think we overreact sometimes as fans when we see guys getting moved around a lot during training camp. And, we have to remember that's what this is for, right? This is the time is to, experiment and you want your best lineman out there, period, whoever that group is, right? Best five. And you go from there. So it'll be fun to watch camp and see where they end up moving guys around.
Yeah. So the Packers aim for Belton to compete for a starting job, particularly at right guard against returning starter Sean Ryan. The offensive line coach, Luke, I always want to call him Dick Butkus. Luke Butkus praised Belton's film at North Carolina State, noting his athleticism despite being around 360 plus pounds last year. I don't know if that's a typo or not with AI pulling that from the interwebs, but if he was up around 360, good Lord have mercy.
Sick.
Now lighter, enhancing his movement. So, that would suggest, yes, 300. It's wild to think 336 pounds is lighter than you played at college. But Belton's size, 6'6", 336, smooth, controlled movement led to his nickname, Big Escalade, given by North Carolina State strength and conditioning coach D'Antonio Burnett, highlighting his ability to change direction effectively for a big man. So, Big Escalade because he's so smooth. All I can think about, Tim, when you talk about putting that big of a body in the guard position, duo is going to be a blast to run this year. Him getting to the next level. Could you imagine being a 245-pound stack backer and look up and see 6'6", 336 running at you like a freight train, running at you like an Escalade?
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that. And then add that to the fact that we've got, big dogs like Aaron Banks out there too now, putting in work. It's going to wreak havoc on linebackers for sure. And how fun is it for guys like Emmanuel Wilson, Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd to get to run behind that type of a line, man? It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is going to be a blast. So again, just a little update there on what's going on with Anthony Belton, their second-round pick. No reason to be concerned. I wouldn't be concerned unless you get into all the way through the first week of camp where you got whatever it is, 3 or 4 practices there. If he's not under contract by Saturday the 26th, Tim, then I'm going to start getting a little antsy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, all right, what are we doing? Let's get this done. So just kind of create our own little timeline there. And some other important dates here as well. We talked about quarterbacks, rookies, and injured players report tomorrow. They're going to do the Packers 1K kids run there around Lambeau. Then on Saturday the 19th, they're going to have the Packers 5K run. If you guys like to get out and exercise, get over there, run that 5K, get around Lambeau, be a part of the festivities. Me, I'm not a runner. If you ever see me running, you should run too, because I'm running from something. You know what I mean, Tim? It ain't because I'm trying to exercise. Either that or the buffet opened up. Tuesday, July 22nd, the veterans players will report. Wednesday, the 23rd, will be the first practice, 10:30 a.m. Central Time at Ray-Nitschke Field. And, of course, Friday, July the 25th is the Packers' annual meeting of shareholders. That's going to be at 3 p.m. Central at Lambeau Field. Saturday, August the 2nd, we got family night. And then Thursday, August 21st, is the last practice open to the public. So make sure you guys get up there to the Lambeau Field area, Ray-Nitschke Field, all that good stuff, and partake in the training camp atmosphere. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So